good hard look at Minnesota speak, how we sound, and why.
Excuse me.
When you hear the words Minnesota accent, which Minnesotans come to mind? Judy Garland?
What have you two been up to? Nothing.
Dylan?
Whoa!
Prince?
Because you wouldn't pass the initiation.
No, more than likely, you think of those make-believe Minnesotans in Fargo.
There's a high-speed pursuit, ends here, and then this execution type deal.
Even those who worked on the film admit those accents were a bit cartoonish.
Nice. I'm sitting with Buscemi, and I say, this is nice. So it comes towards the back of the, and almost further up, and nice.
Are you from around here?
Actress Michelle Hutchinson, who played an escort in the movie, aimed for a more subtle sound.
And then when I watched the film, I thought, wow, they really went over the top. I wish I would have.
The Ohio natives lived here 30 years, so she can mimic the lingo.
And I've gone to Ohio State games versus the Gophers, and I'm on the Ohio State side, and you hear, woo, go Ohio, woo! And then, go Gophers!
The lonesome call of the loon.
Drew Jansen's the man who wrote the music and lyrics for How to Talk Minnesotan. One of the first things he learned when he came here 20 years ago, people from Minnesota don't always hear the accent.
Have you seen Lars anywhere? No.
Watching Mary Tyler Moore, I said, isn't it odd that this show ostensibly takes place in Minnesota, yet nobody in the cast sounds like a Minnesotan? And some of my Minnesota buddies said, what do you mean? I said, well, nobody has the Minnesota accent. They said, what accent?
Drew grew up in Arkansas, but had relatives up north.
We would kid our cousins from Manitowoc mercilessly because they pronounced the word F-L-A-G as though it rhymed with, Alexander Haig. It sounded like flag. I said, no, it's flag. Y'all don't know how to talk good.
In this area, people hold their mouths with O's and A's. I thought, you see, the mouth is just like this. Instead of dropping the jaw to say, fought.
Shirley Venard's a voice actor and vocal coach who often helps people tone down their Minnesotan.
Or no. I mean, that's 4 words, they say, and it's not 4 words, it's 2 words.
The way we sound is a reflection of the immigrants who settled here. New Yorkers and Pennsylvanians were the first big wave of outsiders to arrive, followed by Germans, Belgians, Irish, and Czechs in southern Minnesota. The Swedes settled the east central section, the Norwegians stretched to the Red River Valley and Lake Superior, and the Iron Range became a melting pot of Finns, Norwegians, Croatians, Italians, Poles, Russians, French Canadians, and others. Just listen to one voice from the range.
I was hard-working man. Even today, 77-year-old, I always do something.
The immigrants brought their own languages with alphabets that didn't always jibe with English.
Their ooh, that's a very rounded vowel, ooh. And so they would have wanted to say book instead of book, for example. Or
Luther College professor Kathleen Stoker specializes in Norwegian language and folklore.
Chairs and days and business. Norwegians would want to pronounce des and business and chairs. They'd want to take the voice out of the z.
She also notes there's no th or th sound in many European languages, so you get
Duluth. Yeah, Duluth, yeah. Lots of Norwegians up in Duluth,
Of course, dialect is not just how we sound, it's also the words we use. The late Professor Harold Allen at the U of M spent 40 years on the subject and put it all in here, the Linguistic Atlas of the Upper Midwest. It's based on hundreds of interviews he recorded with real people, and then he mapped out countless variations in the way people speak English here. He even did a video.
Northern boys might throw a stone clear across a creek. The Midland boys would throw a rock plumb across a creek.
Well, it's really fascinating stuff, especially if you're a linguist, but for the rest of us, Howard Moore's How to Talk Minnesotan is much lighter reading.
Minnesota men use a couple, 3 phrases like a lot of guys, if a guy.
To Moore, our unique brand of English is all about being indirect.
You know, Al, a lot of guys wouldn't weld so close to a gas tank like that.
The musical based on his book covers our most coveted phrases, including various types of deals.
What's the deal anyway?
And the ubiquitous you bet.
Thank you.
You bet, thank you.
You bet.
And Howard finds you soften the impact of any statement with a nice so then.
So, maybe we should go to town and get another watermelon then.
In Norwegian, it's skal du til hytta da. Are you going up to the cabin then? Skal du til hytta da? And it's that da that is the then. So it's purely translated Norwegian.
Same goes for O for.
O for fab, O for keen. Using O for reinforces what we mean.
Another unusual piece of syntax, come with.
You want to come with?
Come with.
Come with you?
And it seems Minnesota men have their own body language.
And you look straight at, don't look at me.
Okay, we look this way.
Howard tried to teach me.
So you think this hot weather's going to last for a while, do you?
You bet.
John Croman, KARE 11 News.
All right, one other piece of trivia now. The term ufta also came from Norway in the 1800s, but that country's language has changed so much. Most Norwegians in Norway don't use it anymore. The musical How to Talk Minnesotan is making stops in Alexandria, Fargo, St. Cloud, and Red Wing. You can go to KARE